Missing someone. Love with all your heart. Missing someone. Love with heart.
Okay, so you want to go blonder. We've been doing red for like a year or two?
I think like 8-9 months.
Okay, a year. And
Yeah.
then she used to be blonde on the ends, and we're just going to try to see how light this gets. We've been doing a demi, so it shouldn't be too stubborn because a demi with heat underneath is not technically a permanent, but it's been able to cover her gray, like blend it. So hopefully this lifts out really nicely, but it might take a while to get to blonde. We'll see. And then I think we need to trim it today.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, just so they get like healthy.
For
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So here's a closer look into this client's hair. So like I said, we were doing a demi-permanent red tone all over her hair. We've done like variations of like a reddish copper to all the way to more of like a red tone. And the reason why I used a demi-permanent is because she used to be blonde, like just like my classic dimensional blonde highlight, and she wanted to go red. And she naturally is by like I would say like a level 6, a level 7. She has a bit of a finer texture to it, and she does have some natural gray hair. So I used a demi because I felt like it would be enough to color her natural but also blend in her gray, just in case she wanted to go blonde. And here we are today trying to get rid of the red, which I predicted would happen, and it's totally normal because she used to be blonde and she just wanted a little bit of a change, and so we did it for a while, but now she's ready to go back to her blonde hair. So the other thing that I do want to know as I go through and foil her hair is that she is going through some like postpartum hair loss. So in some areas of her hair there is a little bit of thinning compared to other parts of her hair, but she has experienced this before, and this is just kind of like the natural cycle of what happens after you have a baby. And so right now she also wants to cut her hair to kind of get a little bit more healthy and more even after we do the whole color. So I am going to be going in before doing that and just doing my classic placement of blonding, because she's going to need a couple rounds of this to kind of get rid of all that red. We don't want to like go full in of like making her solid, so we are going more of like the foiling method, and with that it's going to leave out some red still. So even though we are foiling her, there is just going to be some residual red in between the foils that next time will be hit during her second session with me. But the ultimate goal today is pretty much to get rid of most of it so she can feel overall less red, and then the next time she comes in we can definitely pick out some more and then slowly get her back to where she was before. So I detailed her hairline, and then I did a slice diagonal back in the back, and now I'm going in with my center parting section that I normally do. I have some amazingly wide custom cut foils that are going to help me cover more ground in the back, and these are from the Foil Lab. I just saw like an ad for them on Instagram and purchased them myself, and honestly guys, I absolutely love them. I feel like it's really game changing, and it really does give me enough room to kind of paint the hair and create like a wider section, which essentially will save me a bit more time covering more ground with each foil. So I do that all the way to the top where the mohawk is, and you can see I did 2 detail hairline foils around the side of her head and doing a weave above the ear there to kind of connect that front money piece to the back. And I always weave this area right above the ear because I just find that doing a slice here would just look too chunky or too harsh, so I always want to make sure that these parts, if she puts her hair in a ponytail, it is nice and soft and blended. And then I'm going to continue my slicing pattern up the sides here. So this side section is going to connect that front to that back center section that we had originally started with. Now on the sides here, I'm just using a standard half cut sheet of a Reynolds foil. I usually will save the Foiled Lab foils for the mohawk center section in the back and towards the top of the head, because it just makes it a lot easier to cover more ground there. But when I work towards the sides here, I find that these standard just Framoir foils or like just a standard Reynolds foil is wide enough for these sections particularly. And then really quick, I'm using the Danger Jones powder lightener, and I'm using this with just 20 volume for the whole head. I was able to foil her pretty quickly, so that's why I opted to just use 20 volume and then just kind of watch it. My spacing in between my slices, I would say, are about a ½ inch apart. She does have a bit of thinning from her postpartum hair, so I don't my sections, even though they are a little bit spaced apart, it's a little bit more on the see-through side, again because she has a bit of thinning in her hair. So right now we're going in and just kind of like separating and over directing the hair forward so that I could do some tip outs. So I will tease over direct it towards the face, front of her face, and then weave it and kind of paint at a slant, as you can see there, and just really try to saturate. The key with like tip outs is to just make sure that your sections are like extremely see-through. I don't do a tip out on any section that is too thick. Like this is the section that you want it to be like tissue paper thin, in my opinion. And it's just going to ensure a really clean blend. I feel like if there's too much hair, just split it in half. It'll just save you the time and any like blending in later time. It just makes it a lot more seamless the thinner it is of a section, the more see-through it is, because you really won't see any type of line of demarcation or anything like that. So if you're unsure of how see-through it should be, I would just be on the safe side and just maybe split that section in half one more time. But for the most part, you can never go wrong with a section that's too thin, but you can definitely create some harsh lines if you take a section that can potentially be a little bit too thick. And when I do my tip outs too, I just use 20 volume for this part as well, and just kind of check on it. I know I said earlier that she has some previous highlights on the end that were darkened from her demi red tone, and right here is a great clip because you can see that the ends are a little bit blonder, but that root is a bit warmer. That is because the ends are blonder where we had her old highlights, and the root has that demi permanent color. So once whichever section of the foil is ready, you gotta kind of rinse it off. And then here's the other thing, is when you're mixing or like lifting the hair from any type of red tone, I find that when it reaches like a level 9, it kind of looks like a level 7, but really it's a level 9, and the only way you would really find that out is when you tone it. And the reason why I say it looks like a level 7 is because it looks warmer than it actually is, because that red tone essentially kind of stained the hair. So it technically is a level 9, but it has some residual reddish tone that could potentially make it look a little bit copper, which might make you think it's a level 7, but when you tone it, you'll see that it's able to kind of tone out, even with like a lighter level. So for her toner formulation, I'm going to be mostly using the Danger Jones gloss toners, and for her root formula, we did a 7-8, which is a level 7 brown, and I'm going in pretty much rooting her whole head. After that, I'm going to be applying a lighter toner, and the lighter toner I actually mixed in their 9-2, which is a level 9 violet, but I also added in an 8V from Shades EQ because they don't have a level 8 violet, but I felt like she needed something that was a little bit more of a darker level than just like a level 9, because like I said before, I wasn't 100% sure if it had lightened because her highlights still looked a little orangey, but when you really pinched it and kind of dried it a little bit, it looked like a level 9. So I went in and just went ahead and just added some level 8 violet into her formulation to help tone out some of that oranginess, and when we dried it, it didn't even look like a level 7 at all. It really did look like a level 9. So I want to say that that's because it's the red tone that she had just kind of stained her hair, and that's why she lifted so warm. Alrighty guys, so here is the finished look after that whole process. I feel like this came out really great because we were able to really neutralize her hair and make it look more on the neutral side opposed to more of the warm red tone, considering how red her hair was when she first came in. And you know, when she comes in for her second session, we'll definitely be able to get her a little bit more blonder and brighter. Alrighty guys, that is it for this week's episode. Thank you guys so much for watching and tuning in, and as always, I will talk to you guys next week.